Yo, Spectre here. Today I'm going to show you how to create a floating all-seeing eye pyramid in Blender. First things first, open up Blender. Then remove this light. Then select the cube, press tab, and then select all 4 vertices above. Then go to mesh, and then go to merge, and then select add center. Then zoom in, and then create loop cuts. So hit Control and the letter R. And you're going to see a little yellow dot appear. And then with the mouse wheel, scroll up 7 times. And then do the same to all the other edges. And then hit 1 on your number pad. Zoom in. And then select the vertices individually together like that. Then hit F. Then hit Control and then number 1 on your number pad to go on the opposite end. And then do the same. Then hit 3 on your number pad and do the same. Then hit Control and then number 3 on the number pad. Then hit 1 on your number pad and then hit 3 on the keyboard and then select the face and then delete it. Hit the delete key and then select faces. Then hit 1 on your keyboard and then select all the vertices and then hit F. Then hit Control and number 1 on your number pad. Then hit 3 on your keyboard. Select the face. Then delete. And then delete faces. Then hit 1 again on your keyboard. Select all the vertices. Hit F. Then hit 3 on your number pad. Hit 3 on your keyboard. Select the face. Then the delete key. Faces again. And then 1 again on your keyboard. Then select all the vertices, hit F, and then do Control 3. Then select 3 on your keyboard. Then select the face. Then hit delete, and then faces. Then hit 1 again on your keyboard. Select all the vertices, and hit F. And then now when you select all the face, when you select 3 on your keyboard, you can see that they're all individual roles now. Then hit 1 on your number pad. And then create loop cuts by hitting Control R and then with the mouse wheel up, increase it 7 times. Then left select and then hit escape. And you can see that it does it on both sides. So then hit number 3 on your number pad and then do the same. Control R and then increase it 7 times. And then left select and then hit escape. And the same thing happens. Then hit 3 on your keyboard and then select all the faces here. And then hit delete and then faces. And then hit 7 on your number pad. And then hit 1 on your keyboard. And then zoom in and select all the vertices. And then hit F. And then now we have a pyramid but without the point at the top. Now what we're going to do is select all the faces individually. So hit 3 on your keyboard and then you're going to checker select. So do a pattern. Make sure you hold shift while selecting. Okay, after selecting every individual face like that, go over here to your material preview and then go back down over here to material properties. And then you can hit the increase button and then and then here on base color, you can decrease it to black or whatever color you want, honestly. And I'm going to increase the metallic all the way up to 1 and then the roughness all the way down to 0. And then here, I'm going to hit assign. And then also I'm going to rename this material to black. And then now you can see that it's a checkered board kind of. And then here on this material, it's going to be white. And I'm just going to increase it up. And I'm going to just name this white. That way I don't get confused later on. If you go over here to your rendered preview, looks good. Now I'm going to go back to the material preview. And then now hit tab and then hit G and then Z. And this will make or levitate your pyramid. And then hit Shift A and then mesh, and then hit cube. And let's move this up a little bit more. You can also use the move tool here, and then just use these arrows. Now you can also rename the pyramid here. Just select on the cube and then just type in pyramid. And then this cube down here is going to be the fire. Then go over to your shading tab and make sure you're selected on the cube on the bottom. Then hit new. And you can remove these right here, the principled BSD. And then enter the following. Do Shift A and then search. Do emissions. Then Shift A, search. And you're going to search for math. And then here, add is going to be greater than. And then make sure to connect them as you're going. It's going to be emissions over to volume. And then value to strength. And then here on the threshold, you can also decrease it to 0. And then do Shift A and then color ramp. Just do it above. And then select color to color. And then do gradient texture. And then connect FAC over to value. And then color to FAC. And then here in the gradient texture, make sure to select linear and then do spherical. And then do Shift A, search for map range. And then here, search for vector and then math. And this one's going to be multiply. And then here, select vector to vector. And then here is going to be result to vector. And then search for noise texture. And then here's going to be FAC to value. And then here where it says to min, you can do a 0.5. And then here to max, you can do 1.5. Then do Shift A and then do mapping. And then select vector to vector. And then here on the left, do vector math. And then above, do vector math again. And this one, switch it over to scale. Then down here, you can select vector to vector. And then select vector to vector. And then here on the scale vector, connect it over here to the multiply vector section. And then here on the left, it's going to be the last one. It's going to be texture coordinate. And then object to vector. Then here on the noise texture, you can also lower the roughness to 0. And then here on the scale, you can increase it to 1.25. Then here you can start choosing your colors. So on the left side, I'm going to choose this black bar here. And I'm going to start using the RGB. And I want a blue effect here. So I'm going to leave the first one as blue. And then at the very end, the second color, select it. And I'm going to give it like a teal look. Then let's pan over to the left. And here in the add node, at the very bottom, you can do hashtag and then do frame. So now it's going to be moving on every single frame. Now over here where it says distortion, increase it to 2. And then here on detail, you can do 0. Now we can go back to layout. And then here we can go over to the render properties and then select your render engine type over to cycles. And then on GPU, you can do GPU compute. And then here on max samples, do 300. And then at the bottom, 300 as well. Now we can go to rendered mode. And then it looks much better. And since we're here, we can just go back to output properties. And here you can change the resolution. I'm going to switch this over to 1080 and here 1920 because I want to use this for TikTok and Instagram. And then here on frame rate, I'm going to select 60. You can leave it at 24 or 30. It's kind of up to you. And then here on frame range, I'm gonna switch over N to 500. Then here on your output, select the folder icon, and you can make a new folder to store your file. Hit new folder, and I'm gonna just do pyramid tut for tutorial. Then select the actual folder, then hit accept. And then here on the file format, I'm gonna switch this over to FFmpeg video. And then here on the encoding, on the container, switch it over to MPEG-4. And then here on the output quality, switch it over to high quality. Then go to object properties, and then select the fire, and then scale it up with S, and then increase it enough to where you can see some of the fire going above of the pyramid. Then shift select the pyramid, then hit Control and the letter P, and then select object. And that way, whenever any movement happens with the pyramid, the fire moves with it. Then select out here, then do Shift A, and then go to Mesh, and then go to UV sphere, and then bring up the UV sphere here. Rotate it here on the rotation X to 90 degrees. And then you can do number 3 on your number pad to get this view. And then make sure to make a duplicate of this. Do Control C and Control V. And here on the first sphere, just rename it to outer eye. And then the other sphere, rename it just to eye. And then here, you can make sure to hide the outer eye. Then select the regular eye, then hit tab. And then make sure over here to select number 1 for the vertice view. And then make sure to highlight only these 3 rows of vertices. Then do Control and number pad 3 to get the opposite view. Then shift select the other half of the vertices. Then you can pan over to see if all of them are selected. Otherwise, just select any unselected vertices. Then hit 3 on your number pad. Then hit S and then Y. And then move up with the mouse enough to where it's flat. Then left select with the mouse. And it should look something like this. Then hit 1 on your number pad to get a better view. Then hit 3 on your keyboard. And now we're gonna select this middle section here and then highlight all of them. And then go over here to your material properties. Then select new. Then select the plus button and then select new. And then here on base color, make sure to bring this down. And then scroll down to metallic and then increase it to 1. And on roughness, decrease it to 0. And then hit assign. Now we're gonna create the eye color, and it's gonna be these 2 layers here. So make sure to shift select the entire circle here. And then you can also click on the plus button again, hit new, and on base color, increase this up, and then select whatever eye color you want. I'm gonna choose a teal color. And then on metallic, I'm gonna increase it all the way to 1, and then roughness back to down to 0, and then hit assign. And then you can see the eye color now in action. And then now we're gonna create a rim outside of this. So do Control R and make sure you're hovering above. Then select, left select with the mouse, and then decrease a little bit. And now we're gonna select 3 on your keyboard, and let's select these faces here. And then you can use the same material here that we used, the black, and then hit assign. And it should look something like that. And then now here on the outer eye, we can show it again. Then make sure to select the outer eye, and then hit tab, and then hit S, And just make it a little bit bigger, just enough to where you cannot see the eye anymore. Now we can go over here to our shading tab and then select our outer eye and then select new. And then you can remove this principled BSD. Do Shift A, search, and then hit glass BSDF. Then connect BSDF over to volume. And then here on the IOR, do 1.1. Now let's go back to layout. Then we can select the eye and the outer eye together. And then hit Control J. That way they're all in one piece now. Then select the eye and then hit S to scale it down a little bit. And then bring it closer to the pyramid. Now let's go back to shading and then select object, do world, and remove this background. Do Shift A, search, and then do environment texture. Then select color to surface and then hit open. And I'm going to leave a link in the description to this HDRI that I found. And it's called Snowy Field 4K. Then hit open image. And then it's going to look like this. I'll go back to layout. And then we can go over to render properties and then go down to where it says film and then select transparent. Then you can select the eye here, right click, shade smooth, then go back to object properties, then do Shift A and then go over to light and then do sun and then bring it up. And then you can go over here to the object data properties and I'm going to do 10. Then here in the sun, change the angle to 150. And then now I'm going to move the camera. We can select it. Rotation could be 90 degrees. And here on the Z-axis, 0. And then now I can just move it along. And you can do 0 on your number pad. And you can start aligning it here as well. And I'm going to want to give some animations to the pyramid. So I'm going to bring up the timeline and then also decrease here on the view. But before I do any of that, I'm going to select the pyramid here and then I'm going to do shift select the eye and then also do control and the letter P and then select object. That way now when the eyeball moves, everything else moves together. And since we're here already selected on the eye, you can go over here to material preview and then select the eye color. And if you don't like the reflectiveness, you can just always increase a little bit on the roughness. That way it's not reflecting the HDRI completely. Now let's go back to the camera, select eye, go back to your object properties. And then here on the, make sure to be selected on number 1 on your timeline. And then here on the Z-axis, you can insert a keyframe, then go to 100, and then select 50. Then insert a keyframe, go over to 200, and then you can do -50. Insert a keyframe, go over to 300, and then do the opposite, which is 50. Insert a keyframe, and then 400. Which is now the opposite, -50. Enter the keyframe. And then here on 500, just do 0. Enter the keyframe. And now since all of these are selected, right click, go to interpolation mode, and then do Bezier. And then now when you're seeing the animation, it does it very smooth. Now you can go to render and then render image to see how it's looking like. Now if you like the render image, the way it's looking like, you can do Control and F12, and now it is rendering. Also, if you want to have a pretty cool look, you can select all of these layers here, do Control C, Control V, and you can move back any of the actual layers here, and you can just hide it in the back. And you can change the color of the fire. you can just go back to your shading, make sure you're on object, and then you can change the color here. This could be like red or even a lighter green, teal. And then select these here, do Control C, Control V, and then just move it to the side. And then go back to your shading tab, select the other fire, and then here do another color. Then go back to layout. And you can just switch the animation around like the opposite. But right now I'm rendering already, but I wanted to show you guys this right before I finish off the video. And there you have it, guys. That is how to create an all-seeing eye floating pyramid. And if this has helped you out in any way, shape, or form, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And also, please make sure to follow me on my social medias. It is at spectre.3d. And also, you can follow my Discord. All the links will be in the description below. And I also wanted to give a shout out to all my new subscribers. You guys are really liking the content. And also, if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.